So, Lisa and I are here together today. We're really excited. We're going to talk about a subject that is big. And I brought it up on Telegram the other day and asked if you guys wanted a video. And by the way, just so you guys know, Lisa and I's information is only in the description. If you're watching this on Rumble, possibly, there's a lot of scammy stuff on Rumble asking you to go to like crypto Telegram channels. That is not real. I just wanted to bring that up because I'll pin things like stepintoyourpower.com and stuff like that in the comments, but I do not ask you to go to some weird Telegram channel.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
please be careful with that. I was listening to someone who said a lot of his followers are getting scammed big time. Yeah, I think it was Captain Kyle. A lot of his people were getting scammed.
Scams are really up on the surface. So, because we're cleansing out the 3D,
Yeah,
and scams are a part of the 3D behavior.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I was, Honey knows the story, but I had some 3D behavior over the weekend. That was Saturday night. That was really freaky.
Yeah.
I have a roommate, Barry, who was moving her studio. She's a professional photographer, and she was picking up some furniture for her new studio. So she wanted a recliner. So we had to drive. I'm in Vermont. It's remote. There's no lights on the roads, the highways, nothing. It's dark. And it was like 5 o'clock, and it's already almost pitch black when we're going on this ride. So it's an hour to get to the recliner. And while we were there, then we realized it was another 40 minutes to get this mini refrigerator. It was like $50. And I got a download that said, just don't go. And we were meeting someone for dinner near where the recliner was. So I was going to say something, but she was really excited about getting the refrigerator. So I was like, I didn't know if I was just being lazy and hungry or if there was another reason.
Right.
Not to drive like an hour and a half somewhere. So I we went, and it was in a really, really remote area of Vermont, and the roads are all dirt roads. It's dark. There's like you can't even see the houses. And we show up at this house, and the house is lit, and the gentleman comes out and he said something to us like, I have a sugar house, and the sugar house is where they make the maple syrup. So there are these separate buildings where they boil it down. And he's pointing. Now, we already have snow here, and there's a road that's going out into the woods that's pitch black. There's no lights in the woods, nothing. And he's insisting that we have to drive there to get the refrigerator. And I'm like, she had a new car. She wasn't sure how her tires were working, anything. And all of a sudden, I'm like, something's not right here because he wouldn't help us. We said, we're not comfortable driving all the way out there. And he's walking behind us. And it was like supposedly like a quarter of a mile down. He's like, just go down there. And he kept insisting, you have to go down there to turn around anyway. And we're like, we're in your driveway. We can turn around here. And he kept insisting that we go down to a sugar house. And so we finally said, could you take your car, go pick it up? You could fit it in the tailgate of your car and bring it. He wouldn't. And he kept insisting that we go. And then Barry went to hit the gas on her car, and the parking brake came on by itself. And I looked at her and I said, I'm not comfortable. We're out of here. And we had driven 40 minutes to get there. And she looked at me and she's like, okay. And we just turned around and left. He was not nice. He was sketchy. He kept insisting that we go. And instead of getting triggered or upset, we're like, there's lots of other refrigerators out there. And we left. And then I said to her, I got a download that said not to go. And she's like, why didn't you tell me? I said, because you would have overridden me anyway, because you were so excited about going. And so now we've come up with a code word for each other. Like if we have that intuition not to do something, we have to remind each other of what just happened because that guy was creepy. like really sketchy.
Yeah, and he would have done something not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you would have gotten out of it, but it would have been a struggle.
Yeah.
So, really listen to your intuition right now. And the inner child is what's like healing. We're healing all the trauma from the inner child. And if you think about the human part of you is what I call the inner child. If you think about all the trauma that your human part has witnessed and participated in throughout your lifetime, some of it was because your soul wanted to learn a lesson. A lot of it had to do with, the family you grew up in. And most of us, as, big souls, we came in to learn a lot. And we also came in to be kind of cracked open emotionally
Yeah.
so that we would be aware enough to make it through this time. And now we're healing all those wounds. And if you haven't done a whole lot of healing with your inner child yet, it's like right on the surface and such a big push to heal right now. So it's quite painful for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's really interesting about clearing, and I was also just relaying the story. I had someone in my life who I've never really had much of a relationship with, and every time I was on the phone with them or in their presence, it was always very contentious. They were always really angry at me. And I recently started just forgiveness work and letting go and getting neutral about them. And the craziest thing is, I get a phone call, and we had 2 hours of one of the nicest conversations I ever had. And now I don't know if they're now an NPC or if I created this person to have, have some finality over it. It was interesting, but whatever it is, it gave me some peace around that relationship. And so the idea of forgiveness, and this isn't a person that I would really hang out with because we have nothing in common with, only for certain reasons that we have to.
Yeah.
So clearing those relationships and the old triggers and things like that, because these people were in our lives for a reason anyway. We contracted with them. There's a reason why certain things happen. So to be able to connect with that is really, and forgive and let go and get neutral is really going to help you start manifesting. Because when I started doing that, and Honey knows, like I think of things and they happen now. It's freaking awesome. It's really insane. Like one thing after another, and it all just starts to happen. And then if there's any block, the block pops up, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank whatever that is.
Yeah, that's really important. I was working through a couple of blocks, like while I was in the car the other day, and some things came up, and I was like, where is this coming from? And then I got the answers about, a couple of events in my childhood, and I was able to clear those blocks and forgive and go through that process. And it's really important because we have a lot of events that happen in our childhood with our friends, with our family, with grandparents, like all kinds of people. It's really important to forgive those moments. And one is popping in right now, which is really funny. And I don't think I've forgiven it. So I had a friend in preschool who was very strange, but we were great friends. And he asked me to marry him when I was 7. So I think he was 7 too. And he brought me this card. And we're inside of this little like toy teepee. And he gives me this card, and on the card is a skeleton, right? And on the inside, he's like, will you marry me and be mine forever? And I'm like, what does that mean? Death? Like, what is this skeleton card? And I said, no. And we kind of came in and out of each other's lives like a few times. And the next time he was holding bloody things in his, like he was doing show and tell, and he had this book, and there were eyeballs in somebody's hand. And he's showing this picture to the whole school group, the fourth grade, I think is what it was. And I was like, I know this person. What is he doing? And then when 2020 hit, he was really, really angry with me because I was telling what I thought and gaslighting me and doing stuff like that. And it just popped in. That's another person that I should be forgiving. And, you know, because of their wackiness. Now, he was involved with some Hollywood stuff. So I'm like, well, how far into it was he? But it was just really interesting that just popped in because that's another thing to forgive and let go of. And your inner child hangs on to that stuff. Like he was my very best friend when I was 4,
Yeah.
And then became this gradual, weirder and weirder person that was really hard to be around.
Oh.
So my 4-year-old self was really bummed out by that.
But you know what? It's weird because this person that I just did the forgiveness work, like I would say 3, 4 years ago, I had a list of people that I was doing forgiveness work for. And I had to stack this thick, and that person wasn't there. So it's like these people just pop up because I was like, oh, I don't really need it because I don't really care anymore and they're not in my life anymore. But it's the inner child that's still holding on to stuff. And, this person was never really nice to me. So I was like, I don't even really want them in my life, so it doesn't matter. And then I realized that it was stuff that I needed to let go of. And it's layer after layer after layer. And the power of our thoughts and our mind. And, the beauty of what's coming up for us to let go. Because, I asked Honey this, I think it was yesterday. I said, what's it going to be like for us? We have been programmed that all our lessons come from pain. That's how
Yeah.
we grow. And I'm like, what's it going to be like when we can finally grow from just life and in a good way? I can't even, because the pain does make you stronger, but I'm tired. But what do you do with the new children that are coming in?
Yeah, they won't accept it. They're not interested. So it'll be about communication and seeing someone else's perspective
Mhm.
and learning from that, like learning from communication and community and hanging out with people that may have another point of view and not being so attached to our point of view and our need to be right all the time, which is definitely a nervous system inner child thing, self-protective of your ideas. Like if you say something and somebody flips out and yells at you about it because it's not their point of view,
Right,
that's fear.
right. But
Yeah.
But that's one thing, but I'm thinking like when I went through my divorce 10 years ago and bottoming out, that kind of lesson. When you're going through the dark night of the soul and suddenly coming out the other side with the phoenix, like that whole um just that whole
The
belief
hero's
system. The
journey.
hero's journey, thank you, which is what
Yeah.
our humanity is based on.
It is, and that's what we're letting go of. Because we're
That's brilliant.
actually, yeah, going into a time of cooperation and having fun
Okay.
and learning without all that pain and really having an objective mindset and not holding things against each other
Mm.
all the time because everybody's a reflection of you anyway, you
So,
know?
because the hero's journey is so embedded in us, is that why that we have people who are unwilling to forgive? like unwilling to let go, that they're just so stuck to that. That's why they have to reincarnate another 25,000 years, or you couldn't make the split, or is that because their soul
Couldn't
is
make the
too young?
split. Yeah, and they ascended without it. Now they'll come back into an easier time because
Hmm.
3D doesn't exist anymore. Like it's going. And that's
Yeah,
why all the 3D stuff from the subconscious and the collective is like at the surface.
yeah.
And I talked to Richard this morning and I called it rotten soup.
I love that.
So there's all this scuzzy rotten soup that we're clearing up right now and filtering through. But we really are going to go into a time where it's easier, but it's about communication and realizing that we're one being and not picking on each other so much
Right.
and letting go of hierarchy too. Because when you think about the hero's journey, there's a lot of disasters along the way
Yeah,
of a hero's journey. And a lot of people like kick the bucket on the way. A lot of people like there's so much negativity that happens
yeah.
during a hero's journey.
No, it's so interesting because, I guess I just saw an image and I don't have anything really to portray what that is right now in front of me, but it's like, okay, this is a thermos, but this is also a thermos, right? But you don't
Mhm.
see all the sides. So when you think about the cooperation and all that, this is also the same thermos. And you can see this side has something on it, this side doesn't. So I'm looking at the idea of the new way of being is everyone coming in with their own perspectives. Is that, yeah,
And seeing all the angles and being willing to see all the angles. And then also, if someone is still like working through something, being able to say, do you feel like you're still working through something? Because
hmm,
it feels like your angle's kind of upset, tight, stressed, you know,
yeah.
like, and that person not flipping out on you too while you're having that conversation.
Interesting. No, I'm excited for that. And the whole parenting paradigm is going to have to change too, of how
Yeah,
they're going to be teaching us how to parent, it sounds like.
they will. And they won't put up with like taking on 3D trauma
Yeah.
because we used to just pass everything along. And I read something this morning. It was the need to unload your trauma onto somebody else is not okay anymore. You
No.
have to figure out your own trauma, do your journal, do your healing, do all the things because we're not here to pass it on anymore.
So that means the narcissists aren't going to have a place, correct?
No,
Because that's what they
no.
do, they project.
And they've been very disconnected from their soul anyway. And their inner child is like so wounded. I honestly don't think that narcissists really made it through the split. We're just still creating them because we haven't like seen how they went already,
Right.
you know? So if you're still dealing with a narcissist, start asking yourself, are they real or am I recreating them because I don't know that they actually left already?
Right. And unless you're married to them, just don't even, oh, you know what? Don't even engage
Mm-mm.
because they just want reactions from you.
Well, and now that it's like, what's their expectation? And you're giving them power that maybe they wouldn't have if you
Right.
didn't give it to them.
Right.
Yeah. Because the narcissist was necessary for the empath.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us had like a narcissistic relationship or a parent
Or
or
several.
both. Yeah.
It's
Lots of
not
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Not
No.
fun. But you know, I've been listening to Carl Jung. There's a thing on that I've been listening to where someone's been interpreting a lot of Carl Jung's conversations about narcissists and their relationship to the empath. And he talked about the magic that happens to the empath, the ones that get it, the ones that truly do learn their lesson from the narcissist is extraordinary. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful.
It is. I mean, it gives you the ability to have all that sensitivity that you wouldn't have had without them.
Yeah.
So they are the antagonist in your lifetime. They are the shadow,
Yeah.
you
And to be
know?
grateful for it, you know?
Hmm.
It's important. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do
Oh, yeah.
because they create so much pain. But when you do that forgiveness work, you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. And when
Yeah.
you let go of it and thank them for what they did for you, um, and I still every once in a while go, can I really have to thank them for that? But yeah, because I wouldn't be who I am and where I'm at without them. Not
No.
by a long shot. I would have been much more superficial. I would never have gone through, the hell and back that I have in my life. And now I'm like so grateful for everything that I have.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important. And until you acknowledge that, then you're not really going within all the way.
Yeah,
So, and we're in a time of 3D healing, and that's, what we do together and the quantum healing that we are actually doing tomorrow.
yeah,
When this airs, it'll be tomorrow that we do it.
yeah. So it's
And
Thursday, yeah, Thursday,
yeah,
November 20th, 12 and 4 o'clock Eastern Standard
Eastern.
Time. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's what we're doing. I mean, that's the purpose of why we're all here is to heal from the 3D so that we can really step into the 5D
yeah.
without any
Wait.
baggage.
So I keep showing Annie this. I'm having so much fun with this. But like this is what I did with my mind. Like, and we're going to be teaching people to do this. I mean, literally like 20-minute meditation and boom. Like this is a stainless steel soup spoon. I cannot bend this. Although my cousin did last night, but he's much bigger than I am. I was showing it to him. But he
Yeah.
couldn't straighten it out. This is, the focus of putting your energy, your thoughts. And so if you can do this, what can't you do?
Yeah.
Look what we create. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And you can create anything and do anything. And that, I think that spoon bending from the Matrix, and I think they've been teaching it way before
Yeah,
the Matrix movie, but it's such a great illustration because you think it's so solid. There's no way you can do anything with it. And guess what? It's made of light just like your body is.
yeah. And here's the other thing that's really cool, and it's kind of a metaphor for going 3D into 5D. When I was going through, before I decided to get divorced, it was a 29-year marriage, and I was terrified to be alone, and I had all my reasons to stay and all my reasons to go. And I had so much fear. I did this 1 week event where I was breaking arrows from the soft part of my throat and bent a 10-foot piece of rebar from my throat and walked 40 feet of fire and walked 4 feet of broken glass. And I was like, that's 3D. This is 5D,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to go through a week of hell anymore. I could just make it happen from my thoughts. And I love that metaphor because it's like this took me right back to it. I was like,
Yeah.
God, what I went through to go through that. And now all I have to do is put my focus and energy on something and then completely change my life without having to go through the fire,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Literally. I mean, so many of those self-help like get-togethers were about fire walking and doing things that people would think would be horrific for themselves, like dangerous,
Right.
and making it through that. And maybe actually burning their feet a little bit too, you know? So we don't need to do any of that. And that is the 5D versus the 3D.
Yeah. I love that metaphor. I hope it really helps people understand where we're headed and where we are now.
Yeah.
So many of us like to make it a lot harder than it is. And going through, I have learned so much. I mean, we've been doing this healing for a while now and seeing the transformation of the individuals, but also the collective, the group, because we
Yeah.
focus on one thing at a time and it changes people's lives so much that even the last healing, the energy of the entire group was completely different.
It really was. And they're in their own chat group together too, because this is a subscription. So they are in their own chat group. You can leave anytime, but it's a beautiful thing to see them actually talking to each other about. What do you recommend for this? You know, what do you think about this? And there's a lot of beauty and support in that beyond what we do on that one day a month where we do two healings. There's a library, there's all these things that people can access. But one of the most beautiful things is that they access each other.
Yeah, they're not giving their power away anymore. You know, it's so easy when you have someone who's very psychic like Honey to ask so many questions and then worry about things that they're relying on each other and really going more within on things.
Yeah,
And it's really powerful and empowering to watch.
it's so beautiful. I'm so grateful that people are starting to answer all their own questions. It's so good. It's good for them and it's also good for me. You
Well,
know, I'm like, yes, yes, you're doing it because anybody can do it.
yeah,
Everybody can do it. That's why we're here. We're here for that,
yeah.
to become sovereign.
Yeah, and it's exciting. You know, there is a scary part to it, right? Because we don't know what it looks like yet, but it's also exciting and you know, one of the things I have learned that I love to live my life is the surrender because a year ago I had no idea that I was going to be in Mexico for 3 months. I was going for a week, and I had no idea that I would be in Europe for a month that was starting out as just a couple days in Prague, everything. It's like everything starts to come to you. And
Yeah.
it comes to you better than you could ever imagine. And so getting the fear out and just allowing. And you know, I meditate every day, I journal, I work on things, I let things go. But magic, you know, expect miracles. I talk about that because I was in the movie Zero Limits. But it is, I mean, I literally live my life, and I know, honey, you do too. It's this zero limits life of just attracting what you want instead of having to grind for it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Grinding is 3D. It totally is 3D. And as we let go of that, wherever you're at with it, your life just starts to shift.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I can't even describe how many people have changed so much over the last few years. And when you're focused on change and letting go of things that don't serve you anymore, it's so big.
It's so big because when I came from a place of fear, when I was like getting divorced, how am I going to afford my house? How am I going to afford to feed myself? How am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford that? And then the stuff just kept showing up, and I was like, I don't have to worry anymore. I've had enough of, you know, it's not coincidence. There's synchronicities. And I'm manifesting it because this is what I'm supposed to have. And it's really about also accessing the gratitude of understanding that you're worthy and deserving of it. And that's a huge part of the inner child work. And so that's part of what we're addressing with people is helping them, giving you tools of how to release that inner child, how to heal that inner child, and learning, teaching you to heal yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is an inside job. Ultimately, you are healing yourself and we're
Yeah.
just guiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so
So
cool.
it is so cool. And we hope to see you there. We hope that this answered some questions because I really wanted to answer those questions from Telegram.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful time to be alive. So just let it be beautiful.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I've had a couple people tell me that they've taken days off of work to do it. You don't
Mhm.
have to. The recordings are available to you and you can watch it in your own leisure. And you can watch them multiple times. You're getting the healings. So don't worry that if you work during the day that you can't participate because just sign up and then you can download the videos and watch them anytime you want.
Yeah. Yeah. They're in the library. You can't actually
Yeah.
download them, but you can access
Okay,
them
well.
anytime. So do pay attention to the password that you create.
Yeah.
That
And
is
also,
important.
don't forget you can bring your pets. Cats and dogs
Yeah.
love it, and they get a healing too. My friend who's an animal communicator said that her pets ask for me to do healings on them, so they enjoy it, and you bring them along.
Yeah. They really do. And a lot of pets. So a lot of people went the way of the 3D Earth, but guess where they are right now? A lot of them are in little pets right now. So they came back to go through ascension in a different way. And if you have a pet that seems like they're human, then they probably have a little human soul that they're carrying around along with the little cat soul, the little dog soul. I mean, that's going on quite a bit. And people are asking, did you used to be human? That's been a really like almost like a viral thing.
Wow.
And the animals are saying yes.
So are they coming in as walk-ins to pets that people already have?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just a new puppy that's coming in. Okay.
Mhm.
So they're walking in. So I would imagine this is to experience unconditional love.
Yeah. Yeah. And go through ascension in a more calm way because
Wow.
it's harder as a human than it is as a pet.
So is this also part of the like Buddhist principles or the Hindu where the reincarnation of working is does that have anything to do with this? Working your way up in the animal kingdom to become a human?
A little bit, but mostly it's just there, maybe somebody was really on the verge of staying and they decided to go because it was like they just couldn't break through all the programming. Then they're coming back sometimes as a pet because they're like, well, I wasn't totally done experiencing that,
Mm.
you know? So they come in and they enjoy being with other humans and they act human.
Oh,
Like they
wow.
really do act human. And you can see when your pet shifts. I had a pet that had walk in after walk in,
Wow.
and he was always shifting. And my husband would say, I don't understand what's going on with him. He's like totally different.
Wow.
And at that point, I don't think John was probably ready to hear he had a walk in. So I didn't say that. But I think now he would totally get it. And they're changing like a lot, some of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's really cool. It's a beautiful time to be alive, really.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So we hope to see you on Thursday, November 20th at 12 and 4 o'clock. You can come to one or both, doesn't matter. And we hope to see you there.
Yeah, we do. Have a beautiful day, you guys. Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We add color, don't we